Hello, I'm Joni Giese. I am the new District Administrator for the Watershed District. The Prior Lake Spring Lake Watershed District just celebrated our 50th anniversary this past year. We also recently completed our Water Resource Management Plan that covers the next 10 years. In that plan, we are going to be focusing on improving water quality, reducing flood impacts, and also trying to prevent new aquatic invasive species from entering our lakes. We will share with you the accomplishments in these three areas for Spring Lake and also our plans to accelerate our initiatives in these areas in 2021.
In 2020, the Watershed District continued its Carp Management program with support from our federal and state grants. Our integrated pest management plan was the driver behind our strategies. Those strategies include tracking fish behavior and locations, blocking spawning routes, and physically removing the carp from the lake. In August of 2020, we installed a new carp barrier at the Geis wetland, which is located near the ferric chloride facility. This wetland was determined to be a major spawning habitat and nursery for carp. Part of the plan required us to remove fish out of Spring Lake. We needed to get creative. One of our ideas was the push trap. Fish head up to this trap and they push these fingers and they get trapped inside where we can remove them. Another trap that you might have seen on the lake or might have helped with were our baited box traps. These traps involve using corn as a bait to attract them towards our nets, where in the middle of the night we can pull up the ropes and capture the fish. Through various methods and techniques, staff, volunteers, and our consultants removed nearly 12,000 pounds of carp from Spring Lake. The fish stocking program will move forward this year through the Spring Lake Association and Watershed Joint Fish Stocking Plan. First, we need DNR permit approvals. It sounds like the walleye stocking is good to go this fall concurrent with the DNR plan. We'll be adding an additional 1,000 fingerlings. For bluegill stocking, we'll need to do some surveys first. There'll be about 2,500 bluegills, and we'll add those to known carp spawning locations around the lake. Bluegills prey on carp eggs, and this should help with the carp management program. In 2021, we're planning for the carp management program to have its best year yet. But looking at this graph, you can see that we've got a long ways to go. Our current biomass is at 228 kilograms per hectare. We're looking to get that below 90 and then eventually down to 30. Starting in February, we removed 7,500 pounds during an under-ice seine. Another barrier we are looking to install is at the tadpole pond, located up County Ditch 13. This should also help reduce the carp's spawning ability and eventually lead to lower biomass. We will continue to use a variety of methods and actions to remove carp around Spring Lake. Hope to see you out there.
Spring Lake used to have a lot more algae than it does these days. In 2013, we conducted our first ever alum treatment on Spring Lake, and since then we've done one in 2018 and last year. This dramatically decreases the amount of phosphorus in the lake, which decreases the amount of algae blooms and increases the water clarity.
Each year, staff from the Watershed District use bio-based technology to take scans of vegetation density along the shoreline of each of the main lakes in the watershed. This is a useful tool for us to measure success in our water quality initiatives. And as water quality improves, clarity should increase, and we should see more plants growing deeper into the lake from the shoreline. And as you can see, we've started to see an increase in vegetation between 2017 and 2020. So please try to refrain from pulling weeds and aquatic plants from your shoreline. It's a sign of improving water quality, and it's important for maintaining clear water and healthy habitat for fish.
Curly-leaf pondweed is an invasive and non-native plant that grows in Spring Lake. So every year, the district hires a contractor to come and delineate the areas in the lake that they feel will grow to nuisance conditions. In 2020, we treated about 15 acres, as you can see in that map on the left, and we do anticipate probably the same areas and acreage will be done in 2021.
The Farmer-Led Council helps develop new strategies to address nutrient reduction goals to Spring Lake. In 2020 alone, the farmers helped reduce phosphorus runoff by 506 pounds in the upper watershed.
Lawns to Legumes is a new state program to encourage Minnesotans to add pollinator plantings to their yards. The Scott Soil and Water Conservation District is currently coordinating a Lawns to Legumes neighborhood grant for Vergas Avenue. Eligible projects include adding pollinator patches, rain gardens, or creating a pollinator lawn. If you're interested in adding pollinator habitat to your yard or want more information, call the SWCD.
Here you're looking at the water quality of Spring Lake since 2004. These are the parameters that we use to determine if a lake is impaired or polluted. Phosphorus in orange, which we consider the food for algae, chlorophyll A in the green bar, which is a representation of the actual algae in the water, and the blue bars, which is Secchi depth or clarity.
The district's Carp Management program, alum treatments, water quality projects, and other water quality initiatives taken on by farmers and members of the community have helped to significantly reduce phosphorus and chlorophyll levels in Spring Lake, as well as increase water clarity. 2020 was the first year that Spring Lake met all three of the water quality standards set by the state of Minnesota.
In 2020, work began on developing an upper watershed blueprint study to help the district meet its water quality and flood reduction goals on Spring and Prior Lakes within a 10-year timeframe. This study has shown that we can gain up to 1/10 of a foot in flood reduction on Spring Lake during a 100-year storm event, as well as meet state water quality goals by completing a variety of prioritized projects. Feasibility studies for the top 2 projects will be started right away in 2021, including a wetland enhancement project located to the east of Buck Lake and an iron-enhanced sand filter project to the north of Sutton Lake. Combined, these projects could meet roughly half of the 10-year water quality goals for Spring Lake and reduce flooding by as much as 1/10 of a foot. Following the historic 2014 flood, the district completed a flood study which identified dozens of potential flood reduction projects. Of these, Sutton Lake Outlet Project scored the highest. Construction for this project began in March and includes a controlled outlet on Sutton Lake, which will reduce the flood impacts to downstream water bodies such as Spring Lake.
"2020 was the second year that we hired a company to do boat inspections at the Spring Lake boat launch. They're specifically looking for any aquatic invasive species, but really any plant, mud, or debris that's caught on the boat needs to be removed before launching.
In addition to continued boat inspections in 2021, the district will be installing an Internet Landing Installed Device Sensor, or an ILID, at the Spring Lake boat launch. This automated boat inspecting technology has a sensor that identifies when a boater is present at the launch. A voice will sound to remind the boater to inspect their boat for invasive species, and it will begin recording a video that will be uploaded to the server where it can be reviewed for violations.
The district's Citizen Advisory Committee is a group of local residents who provide input and recommendations to the district's Board of Managers on various water resource issues and help generate ideas to improve local water quality and habitat. We are currently looking for new committee members, so if you're interested and like to apply, you can find applications on our website.
These are just a few highlights of what's to come in 2021. Please contact the district if you have any questions and learn more by visiting our website.